Bakar Dabo, GRTS.
The APRC branch in the Kanifing municipality has made a contribution of over $110,000 towards the party leader's nomination fee. The money was handed over to the ruling party's national mobilizer at the APRC bureau in Kanifing. We have more in this report by Samuel Ba.
As the presidential elections draw ever nearer, party militants of both the opposition and the incumbent have been engaged in a series of activities to remind their supporters of the task ahead. In the wake of the forthcoming presidential elections, the APRC wing of the Kanifing municipality deemed it fitting to make some personal contributions towards the nomination of President Jammeh.
The whole objective is to show their solidarity to the president and to show to the whole country that KM is ready for the coming election 2011, come 24th, that KMC will come in a big way for the president. That's the objective behind it. So this is why I equally tax them to say if you contribute at least 111,000, knowing fully well that KM is having about 187,000 votes plus, we would definitely need at least to give to the president 111,000 votes.
This is a forum that brought together senior government officials, National Assembly members, Yai Compins, Alcalos, and other APRC bigwigs to present an amount of $11,000 as being personal contribution by members of the KMC APRC wing. The ceremony also served as a platform for members who are mostly influential in the party to assess their level of preparedness within the various wards of the municipality. The majority leader and National Assembly member for Serekunda Isfa Bakari Tombong Jata is hopeful that with what he has seen, the ground is level for the much anticipated event. The National Youth Mobilizer Babuge Sonko and Ajande Jata called on all members to respond massively on nomination day, which would be led by the youths. For the Minister of Youth and Sports, Sheriff Gomez, the Delon Jukal initiative is a very noble and worthy cause. He added that the symbolic nature of the event also emanates from the fact that the party's national mobilizer hails from the region, thereby justifying the reasons why the KMC should take a lead role in APRC political activities. Several speakers also took turns to speak on the much anticipated victory for the ruling party, adding that winning is a foregone conclusion. However, what they are working on is the victory margin. The event culminated in the presentation of the donated 11,000 nomination fee by Honorable Hadinde Nyang Jang to the mayor of the KMC for eventual handing over to the vice president on behalf of the APRC flag bearer. Samuel Ba, GRTS.
The Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Edward Gomez, Saturday evening presided over the closing ceremony of the 50th Ordinary Session of the African Commission of Human and People's Rights. The convergence of right defenders and advocates from across the continent and beyond looked at the human rights situation in Africa and means of overcoming challenges. Ibrahim Balde has more on Minister Gomez's message.
Of deliberations, the 50th Ordinary Session of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights has come to an end. Summing up the event, Commissioner Catherine Dupe Atoki described the various issues that formed part of the agenda.
This session witnessed many activities, marking the 30th anniversary of the adoption of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, from the International Colloquium to the Moot Court competition. Indeed, there is cause for celebration and commendation. Africans must recognize and pay tribute to their visionary leaders and experts who committed themselves to give to future generations a charter on human and people's rights.
Celebrations and commendations. The chairperson of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights reflected on the players that contributed to the developments being recorded by the African Commission.
Member states must also be commended for striving to make the African Charter a living document in responding to the obvious lacuna by adopting the additional protocols relating to the establishment of the court and the rights of women in Africa.
The icing on the cake was this song composed by this band from St. Joseph Senior Secondary School.
Me to friend, life will be fine, life will be fine, no violation of rights.
As host of the International Convergence, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Edward Gomez, recounted the historical developments and also reflected on the milestones.
30 years after the Charter was adopted, and 25 years since the establishment of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, enormous strides have been made in the promotion and protection of human rights on the continent.
As delegates prepare to leave the country after spending more than 2 weeks here deliberating on issues relating to human rights, the Minister of Justice urged the participants not to waver in their quest to actualize the Commission's mandate.
It is also my hope that as you deliberate on various issues over the last 2 weeks, you have come up with creative and innovative ideas on how you can support, promote, and protect the rights of all individuals on the continent, especially those of vulnerable groups, and overcoming the challenges that have so far beset the Commission.
Ibrahima Balde, GRTS.
You can also follow that story and other GRTS programs live on our website at www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor GRTS Radio Live. We'll now go for our first break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Eid al-Adha, also known as the Feast of Sacrifice, is one of the most important holidays on the Islamic calendar, commemorating Prophet Ibrahim's willingness to sacrifice his son for God. Eid al-Adha comes at a time when popular uprisings have swept away or challenged many of the old tyrannies in the Arab world. In post-Gaddafi's Libya, for example, many people are living in freedom, and freedom others are struggling for. The families of freedom fighters who lost sons and fathers toppling the Gaddafi regime knew this would be a somber Eid al-Adha, but it is being made even harder by poverty. It's been months since many families have seen an income. This report takes a look at the plight of the revolutionary fighters on the eve of the feast.
Dozens of revolutionary fighters gathered outside a Tripoli hotel where government officials stay. They tell us their commander promised them money to celebrate Eid, but they have not gotten that. They say they left their jobs to fight and now feel forgotten.
All these guys behind me, they got families. They haven't received any sort of support. No emotional support or financial support. We've seen the American soldier when they return back from Afghanistan or Iraq, they receive emotional support.
Eid with freedom came with the ultimate cost for 37-year-old Ali Aoun.
2 of my brothers were killed on the 26th of August. Both of them. They have children. They got children, 6 children. No one looks for them. Aged between 3 and 7. Who looks after them?
Many of these men are demanding action by their yet-to-be-formed government. If we don't receive our rights, we will revolt against this government like we revolted against Gaddafi. We will rise up against anyone with his policies. Promises in talk, but no action, this fighter tells us. Libya's new acting prime minister said last week the fighters have not and will not be forgotten. Officials do acknowledge the long list of challenges ahead, but ask for time. But for these heavily armed men, patience is running out.
If this is not going to be sorted as soon as possible, it's going to be a nightmare, trust me.
A threat this country's fragile stability cannot afford.
Those guys are very angry, very angry, not just angry. If they don't receive whatever support they need, financial and emotional support, we cannot guarantee them to be maintained peaceful.
The war in